for the what is the word for publicity for if it's like an ad for both countries and to see where everything it's honestly good. You're creating clicks for a country that um that a country that usually never really gets any kind of airtime
Well,
would be Iceland. Yurks, we're still on WTAN, so I'm just going for it. Since you had 10 minutes of dead space, and I don't know if you can hear me now. Can you hear me, Yurgs? Okay, so we are still going here on WTAN then. But other than that, look, really, what is going to be the options? What is going to be the harm of saying, "Hey, we'll turn Canada in the 51st state. Hey, let's buy Greenland." Which, honestly, let's make the purchase. I don't see a problem with that. If Iceland wants to sell, let's sell. If Greenland wants to be bought, let's buy it. And Panama, you know, how can we get our costs down? I think is a really good thing. And if you want to leverage the United States economic might to lower costs for everybody at this point, it doesn't look like it's going to be going that
think it's a
way.
really good thing. And if you
Trump
want to
is not in
leverage
the
the United States
administration right
economic
now,
might
so
to
this is going to be
lower
reflecting on
costs for everybody
Biden.
at
I can hear
but
myself in
he's
my
still
ears
on.
good. I am.
At this point, it doesn't
Let's
look
see.
like it's going to be going
I
that
think it's
way.
a really good thing.
And
Trump
if
is I can. I'm getting feedback. I don't like the feedback, but
Matt's going. Can you hear me, Matt? Shake your head if you can hear me.
I can hear you, yours.
Oh, this is such
Anyway,
a pain in the ass.
so Panama is so let's use the
whatever
economic might to get
reason.
costs down for everybody else. So we always talk about things like I think tariffs, and everybody wants to say like tariffs.
For whatever
What do you
reason,
do with everybody who wants to
nobody's seeing
always
me,
criticize
or
the
I guess
ideas
Matt's
coming
hearing
out
it.
of the Trump administration? And I don't want to say I'm a Trumper by
And
by
I
any
just
means of it,
can't.
but look, if there's ideas, we see that we always have a lot of
Because
complaints
I
about
got
the
other
current situation. If
stations
it's
that are
healthcare, if it's
live,
cost, if it's inflation, if it's competition, if it's China, if it's North Korea,
and
if it's
I'm not
Russia,
seeing
Iran, and blah blah. And then when somebody creates a solution, what do they
this
do? Oh, you
browser
can't do it that way. Let's basically what they're saying is,
on
can we just make the status quo? Is the status quo just going to be perpetuated? And
my
are we going to
sounder.
actually do anything to try
So
to change
I'm not
the
hearing Matt.
outcome of the United States? So it is
Okay.
it's interesting that we have these different things that are coming out of, or these different solutions that are coming out of the White House administration, and you do not have any solutions coming back. It's just criticism. Tariffs not going to work. It's going to inflate prices for everybody. So boo, don't do that. Use American economic might to leverage these countries so they can get the price down. No, we can't do that because we're gonna be making our allies, in air quotes, mad. They're gonna be upset and they won't invite us to dinner or something. And I just don't feel that it's a good faith conversation. I think that everything is being politicized in ways that I don't think that is really productive. I mean, I'm going to take a totally 180 here and talk about the take a total 180 here and talk about Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, which I think was a very telling of how we're politicizing everything to try to win some sort of imaginary argument that doesn't and isn't grounded with which isn't grounded in any kind of care or realism for normal people. So you saw people this whole thing saying Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. Everybody saying Merry Christmas. By the way, Merry Christmas, everybody. If you're listening out there, whenever you're driving, Merry Christmas to you. I hope you and your family the health and wealth coming into 2025. And I hope you had a great Christmas and got everything that you wanted from Santa. But besides that, saying Merry Christmas. Look, I grew up in a household that did not do Christmas. We didn't do any kind of holidays. We were non-denominational Christian, but we celebrated a lot of Jewish holidays growing up. But we didn't do any kind of Halloween, Easter, Christmas, none of that stuff. We did Passover. We did. So for me, growing up, you always had this kind of like weird feeling when people would say Merry Christmas. And, my dad and my mom, they drilled it into my head that said, oh, well, we don't celebrate Christmas. Say happy holidays is what we're supposed to do. But, and honestly, that was a detriment to all of everything.
I lost it again.
That was a detriment to the point of Christmas. It is a cultural glue. And it's more so than I think a religious holiday where we're talking about baby Jesus, but a time for people to get together, a time for people to go out and purchase and show affection and love and get people together and have dinner together and make a cultural glue during a certain time of year that really joins America together. And this politicizing of, oh, you got my holiday wrong, or it's not, it's Kwanzaa, or it's Hanukkah, and I'm offended because you didn't say happy holidays, is kind of missing the point, in my opinion, of what Merry Christmas actually means. Merry Christmas is, in my opinion, a cultural glue that says, hey, we are doing a thing together at a certain time, and this is honestly just not American, it's globally, and we want to acknowledge that. And so I hope that you have a great year, and let's try to find this cohesion together. And so this politicization of trying to make everybody feel guilt for saying Merry Christmas or not happy holidays, and acknowledging all these different options that are out there for different viewpoints, which, just because you say Hanukkah and Christmas, or I'm sorry, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Christmas, is excluding any other ideas as well. So it's almost like they're attacking Americanism by trying to politicize the time of year, in my opinion. And I wonder if that's, and I see that all over Twitter. I saw it all over local, I would say, Democratic Party posts, that the Happy Holidays post was a reply to how I'm going to virtue signal that we are better than the people who say Merry Christmas, and therefore try to guilt and make people feel bad for saying Merry Christmas. And somebody who didn't grow up celebrating Christmas, somebody who didn't grow up saying Merry Christmas or happy or anything like that, it makes me understand that you're being a little bit of a prick when you try to shame people for trying to have some sort of cohesion within culture. Again, I don't think that there is a religious aspect to Christmas, obviously, but when we're saying this as a sort of gesture, as sort of a colloquialism, then it is a cohesion of America. Do we have Jurg's back or no?
I think so. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Well, great job.
I had to, because you left me hanging over there, and WTAN was on dead air for 5 to 10 minutes, and you just left.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell happened, but
we got to get that worked out. WTAN cannot appreciate dead air. Is that right, WTAN?
No, I can't. I spent, before you came on, I spent saying about how we're growing, and we're all going to be on these networks and these other networks and this, that, and buy advertising from us. Nobody wants to buy advertising with dead air.
100%. 100%. Yours. I just went on a rant and ramble, and you probably heard a little bit about it. I am very frustrated because look, I had I saw our local Democratic Party put out a post just saying Happy Holidays, and in that post it was like they put up Christmas and Hanukkah and Kwanzaa and all this stuff, and I almost feel like it's a political jab of being some sort of, like, I guess, better than you by trying to drill Happy Holidays over Merry Christmas as a virtue signal instead of looking at what Merry Christmas actually means in a cultural context. Do you think that Happy Holidays is the correct way to say it, or is Merry Christmas just acceptable and just people just got to get over it?
So I picked up on something when I did start, when I played around with the settings here in the studio, and I figured out what it was at. So I need to add that to the checklist that's already a mile long that I start at like 8 o'clock.
WTAN says Merry Christmas.
Yeah. So are you Jewish? Or I hear something that something culturally
No,
you
we
could
we are
not
culture.
draw?
I was not brought. I was brought up non-denominational Christian,
Okay.
but the sect of Christianity followed the Old Testament holy days. So we did, Passover and Yom Kippur and things like that, and did not do Christmas. We did not do Halloween. We did not do Easter. So
Halloween,
did
actually.
not do did not do
Well,
Halloween. Well,
Christmas is,
Halloween's a pagan holiday, according to them.
so is Christmas, actually.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
Yeah. Christmas is not a Christian holiday. And that makes me crazy at the ignorance from the far right. Like I saw one this morning, Santa Claus slapping some guy who's trying to say happy holidays. And Santa Claus is slapping because that's what Santa would do. Is slapping the guy and says, "It's Merry Christmas." First of all, Jesus was not born in December. He was born actually around the same time where he was also crucified in the spring. That's what scholars.
That's a hell of a birthday present, right?
Yeah, right. That's what scholars have pinned that down to. But at events like the Council of Nicaea, when the Bible was actually written, by people, not God, it was determined.
That is going to be a confrontational statement right there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. But when the Bible was written, and there were meetings like the Council of Nicaea, and I think it was Constantine who brought Christianity to the Roman Empire to better acclimate the pagan religions that already existed throughout the empire. Christmas was brought in to celebrate the birth of Christ. Christmas happens in December. The pagan holiday Christmas happened in December.
Great.
That was combined with the birth of Christ, but has nothing to do with the birth of Christ.
Now answer my question about Happy Holidays and Merry Christmas. I think that's what we're trying to get into. Thank you for the history lesson, though.
So for me, I've always tried to be, how should I say, contextual, meaning like any good comedian, I try to know my audience. And if I'm with a bunch of Christian folk, then I'll say Merry Christmas. But if I'm in, faith-based mixed company, Happy Holidays is just a considerate thing to say, like your Democratic Party meme that or post or whatever that they put out that has the different Kwanzaa, Christmas, Hanukkah, Festivus for those Seinfeld fans out there.
Yes, I agree with that, and I am contextual in that aspect as well. But what I'm trying to say is, I feel that we politicize the two words in a way where the Democratic Party now is trying to make it they look down on the Merry Christmas as though, oh well, if you say that, and but what about the people that aren't celebrating Christmas, and then it's more of like a virtue signal of higher consciousness that we are better than you because we say Happy Holidays, and that's what I'm trying to get to.
So
I agree. I don't disagree with saying both, and I also say both, and I prefer honestly Happy Holidays because that's how I was growing up. However, I think that we're missing the cultural cohesion of Merry Christmas and what it actually means in a cultural context of, hey, everybody's getting together at this time. We're going to say Merry Christmas. And if you're offended by that, then I think that you're missing the point. And I think that by taking that virtue signal of like, hey, actually Happy Holidays encompasses all of these different people. And it's like you're missing the point to try to make a political win that is actually not going to be a win in the future, in my opinion. You're not going to win anything by trying to shame people for the context. It's kind of like, I told you the story.
That shaming goes both ways because there's
100%.
The far right that's saying we celebrate Christmas.
Agreed. I 100% agree. I 100% agree.
30% of your founding fathers weren't Christian.
No, I 100% agree. And I understand that it goes both ways. But again, what I'm trying to say is like we shouldn't be using this as a political, this shouldn't be politicized. And it's kind of like I told the story on the show before when I was when I was talking to these people at a political event, and I said, "Hey guys." GUYS guys.
Yeah.
I said, "Hey guys," and there were guys and there was men and women in the audience or around me. Actually, it was not the audience. There's like 6 people, and I said, and somebody, when a woman came up to me, and she was like, "Well, I'm not a guy," and it was one of those things that she said to me that made me go, "You understand the context." I obviously am not trying to be a chauvinist or a misogynist. I obviously is using this as a folks or everybody or y'alls or yous or whatever. And you're doing this just to have this virtue signal of I am better and you are wrong because you said guys and I'm not a guy. And you know exactly what I meant.
So I just moved us, for those on radio or any other the sound only, audio only, I just moved me over to the left side of the screen because I am clearly further left than Matt. Because what do I say? What's my catchphrase when I start a live bit or a recorded commercial? What do I say?
Know. What do you say?
Hey, gang.
Folks. Hey, gang. Well, hey, I'm not a thug. Well, I'm not in a gang. What, am I wearing a bandana?
Because guys,
what am I claiming?
It just the same way that guys is a catch-all for everybody in the room. So is gang.
Look, but here's what I'm trying to say, and this is, I think we have to fight back against this. And this is not being right or left. This is being, do we understand the context of something and the intent and the malicious? If I'm out there on the picket line, if I'm out there on the picket line or holding signs advocating for workers' rights and abortion rights and all these different things that I was working for the past years. Working for the past years, and then all of a sudden, and Jurg just leaves. This is why this guy really needs to get his stuff together here. He just leaves. Why is he leaving? Where's he going? Where is he going? Anyway, and he can't even hear me. So how are you having a conversation about guys and about cultural context if the guy who you're talking to just leaves the radio? Everybody, WTAN says Democrat. Democrat what? Democrat WTAN. And crew is too. Ken says crew. Hey crew. The thing is, you can get butthurt about all these different things. You can get butthurt about all of these different things, and it's about intent and context. And so what I'm trying to say is, like, if somebody's gonna, I'm out there, I'm working for different ideas that this person obviously believes in, and the thing that they want to start, grinding me for was me saying, "Hey guys," and I'm not going to change that. "Hey guys, how you doing? What's up, guys?" Now, maybe if I was in a group of all women, I probably wouldn't say that, or maybe I would. I don't know. It means y'all, folks, whatever. I just think it's absolutely absurd that we start trying to. It is policing language in a way when the intent is obviously not nefarious. Now, again, to what Jurg said, he just left. Look, WTA in 5 minutes. I don't know what 5 minutes is, but if this guy doesn't come back, I have no clue what you're going to do. You just have to cut us off. But where was I? It is policing language, and if the intent isn't there, and Jurg's is right about the right does it too. Like, oh, we're a Christian nation, and Merry Christmas, and it's either Merry Christmas or nothing, and it's like, well, that's not correct. But what is the intent of saying Merry Christmas? If it's saying like, hey, we have this cultural connection during this time of year, let's say this to make sure that we are, I would point it out and not go to offend anyone, but hey, everyone. And you just leave in the middle of a conversation. I don't care who's at the door. I don't care if it's the mailman or Freddy Krueger. Why did you just leave in the middle of a conversation?
Because my dogs won't stop barking if I don't
put them outside. They're dogs. Why are they even in the house?
I live on the water. I can't put a puppy out on a seawall in
Yes,
10
you
feet of
can.
water.
It probably got to survive, man.
So, as everybody knows, I'm in a disaster area, and my neighbor just had a washer, dryer, a stove, and a refrigerator delivered to my house. He's got an address. He lives across the street and down the street. So he gives my street address to this company who delivers, comes up, knocks on my door. They start unloading things in my driveway. And he comes up and knocks on the door the second time. And I'm like, okay, obviously I got to go deal with these people. So that's when I came back to the camera and threw my arms up in the air and walked away. And he's got on his card, he's got my address. But it's this guy, Larry, who lives down the street. And a bunch of us think it's a crack house because things like this have happened before.
Isn't Larry such a funny name, Larry?
Yeah.
I think it's a funny name. Anyway.
So back to, I think Happy Holidays is more inclusive.
I'm not saying what is more inclusive. It's obviously more inclusive. I'm talking about intent. I'm talking about getting butthurt about saying Merry Christmas.
That's my point. I'm not butthurt by people saying Merry Christmas. If they're people in a group of Christians.
And how do you know that? How do you know if they're in a group of Christians? You don't. I'm sorry. That's why intent matters.
I had exactly. I had a
traumatic. If you obviously are looking at other people with burqas and you go, "Hey, Merry Christmas," you obviously know.
Yeah,
you obviously know.
And I didn't obviously know. I was a kid. I was like 13 or 14 years old. I was a young hockey referee leaving a weekend clinic to, we were a bunch of referees training to be referees. And the day was over. I'm changed. I'm leaving the locker room. And I poke my head back in the door and I yell, "Merry Christmas, everybody." And my supervisor went ballistic because I had no idea that he was Jewish. I didn't know. And so he goes off on this rant. Not everybody worries about presidents and presents and this, that, and the other thing and whatever else. And okay, sorry. But it was a lesson learned, yeah, okay. Not everybody celebrates Christmas. So I've always been conscious about that. Now, you say it's a political issue and we're going to lose WTAN.
Yeah, why don't you be conscious about WTAN?
Yeah. After not having them or not having me for part of the show anyway, we're going to lose WTAN. We're going to lose
my shoulders are sore, man, from carrying you this whole damn show.
Well done. But you can go to Yerg's Radio, YERGZ Radio, and follow the remaining, or you can go to Ross Yerger on Facebook. You can go to Yerg's Media on Rumble and see the video. And then we'll join Tan Talk and the others next week. K-Shop, we'll see you on Wednesday for Translating Trump on New Year's Day. And till then, everybody, we'll see you, again when we see you. But back to, and we're just going to continue right into, the rest of the story. Back into that. Also, DJY, we're going to lose them as well. Yep, there they go. So I had that traumatic event. I was shamed into saying Happy Holidays as a child. And, so I haven't since. Now, my question to you about, I see what you're saying with the Democratic Party being the one to launch that Happy Holidays. What if it was a bar in your neighborhood that said Happy Holidays instead of Merry Christmas? Would it have pissed you off as much? And would you have come up with the accusation that they were saying it just to be politically correct? as
See, and
opposed.
that's the thing, and I think
Maybe
that
they recognize many of their patrons are non-practicing Muslims because Muslims don't drink, or non-denominational that don't celebrate Christmas, or Jews, or whoever, and they just recognize that their audience isn't only Christians.
look, like I said earlier,
Holidays.
like this could go both ways. This is definitely
Yep.
both ways of it's all about intent. The right can do it
Yep.
the exact same way of saying, "Oh, this is a Christian nation. You need to say Merry Christmas. It's Christmas." Yeah, that's absolutely ignorant. Absolutely ignorant. What I'm trying to get to is that one, if you're politicizing speech and you're now all of a sudden not looking at the intent, then you really are being an a-hole for the most part, I think. And
Yeah.
if a bar says Happy Holidays, honestly, I think that's probably the best thing to do for an establishment, because you don't know who goes there, or just don't say anything. Or it honestly doesn't matter, even if they say Merry Christmas. The intent is to say, "Hey, hi patrons, this is my holidays." Now, look, I want to just go back to what I was saying earlier. Is like if I went up to somebody and said Merry Christmas, and they said, "Hey, I'm sorry, I don't celebrate," I wouldn't be like, "Oh, it's Christmas." I would say, "Oh, my bad. What do you celebrate?" They'd be like, "Hanukkah." I'm like, "Oh, well,
Yeah.
Happy Hanukkah." I don't care. I don't care what you do. It doesn't matter to me. I'm not offended by
Right.
it. But what I'm trying to say is, like, if they got offended by me saying Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays, it is the intent that matters. They know my intent, what I was trying to do. And I think that all these people that are either on the right or and the left, I see them just trying to politicize this of, we are now making a division by saying, by instead of having common sense to the speech, we are saying, "Hey, Happy Holidays" now is the left way to say it. And if you say it another way, you're just a bigot. And you don't care about all of the Jews, and you don't care about the Muslims, and you don't care about the Hindus, and you don't care about, it's like, that's BS. That's BS.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
turning into more politicized BS. And that's what you don't want in this holiday. And this is, I think, going back to something Vivek Ramaswamy said during his campaign, is cultural identity needs to be had. And the cultural identity of the time, during the Christmas time, the holiday time, is families getting together, and we have to reinforce that more than we have to reinforce political speech.
Yeah, and that's what I just came back from, was families being together or not. I flew up to Pennsylvania for a long weekend / short week to celebrate Christmas with my family, to not talk to any of them. I got in Saturday night, and it was later. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, my brother lives there. They're neighbors with my parents. And then my other brother got in Sunday from DC. And nobody said boo to me until Wednesday night. My one brother said, "It was great seeing you," before he went to bed, and I went to bed. And, I haven't seen each other since my 6 a.m. flight Thursday. We're all politically different. They're Trump supporters. I'm not. They're straight. I'm not. They're into hunting and all kinds of other outdoor things. I'm not. I'm into jet skis and boating and, whatever other outdoor things.
Spandex, disco.
Yeah. And jock straps down a pride parade, which I think is ridiculous, but yeah. And they didn't say boo to me the entire time I was there. I had to insert myself into conversations that I quickly was brushed off after. My parents and I talked about it. I said, one, I'm not coming back next year for this. You can come down to me. I'll spend the same amount of money in the long run buying you both tickets to come to me as I will, tickets for myself to come up there, and for Christmas gifts that might not even be used, let alone appreciated. Why? And a lot of it was they They know what I'm doing here at the house. They know what I want to do with it because they saw the plans that I drew up. Or, I mean, the cocktail napkins that I drew up. My one brother, both of whom are in construction, by the way, both of whom have bent over backwards to help other friends and whoever else. But they're immediately critical of anything that I come up with. So, yeah, somebody get back into investing in crypto because I'm going to take those plans and shove it up their ass.
Up there and insert, he said, he insert himself into that conversation.
Yeah.
Ken says, I'm sorry to hear that, Yergs.
And so, you know, it is what
Ken
it is.
seems like a very emotionally stable kind of person. I like Ken over here.
Yeah. And yeah. I say, so here's, I want to get back to that for a second, because that was, I saw when I said, you know, I've been up in Pennsylvania, I saw the networks up there do something that I thought was pretty cool. In the days leading up to and during, in this case, this year, Wednesday, they say Merry Christmas because, you know, that's the one that's being celebrated. Starting Christmas, they also started saying happy Hanukkah because that was the first day of Hanukkah this year. And now for the next week, they're going to be saying that.
And Kwanzaa was on the 26th. Like everything happened all at the same day. Like this year, that's a first in my life, I think.
And I know these networks also say, because they're out of the Philadelphia market, which does have a big black population that celebrates Kwanzaa. So they also say happy Kwanzaa. And they do it. Theirs is, they know that they're going to say Merry Christmas and a Jew is going to see it and go, whatever. Or somebody from the African community is going to see that and go, not my thing. But now the Christians are also seeing the happy Hanukkah and the happy Kwanzaa, and they go, well, Christmas is over. I guess I'll wait a few more days till they start saying Happy New Year. And that's the last one that'll wrap up this season. And that's why I'm not at all opposed to happy holidays, because it is all encompassing. You don't know which one I'm talking about. Maybe I am wishing this group over here a Merry Christmas and that group over there a Happy Kwanzaa. It is all encompassing. And that's why I think the more guilty ones or the more pathetic ones are the far right who really push.
I think it's both. I think it absolutely is both that is turning this into a political thing. Again, just because you're taking the higher moral ground of being more inclusive doesn't mean that you're right in politicizing this. If there is I understand like how the right is saying, you know, oh, this is a Christian, and that's being honestly that's being narrow-minded and bigoted, you know, in a way. But at the same time, to reply to that, look, the Democrats need to run on healthcare. They need to run on wages. They need to run on stuff. If we keep politicizing things like this just goes back to all the things that people are getting pissed off with the Democratic Party about. And look, by the way, I just looked up what holidays are around the 25th. We say Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa. We don't say Yule. We don't say Boxing Day. We don't say Dongjur Festival. We don't say Omisaka. So there's so many different, we can go down the line of how many holidays look, America is the melting pot. America has everyone here, every language, every culture, every religion here in America. I love it. But can we just please, the more we want to divert this into like this whole thing, we are, to be honest with you, I would probably be more offended that we only look and emphasize these three religious holidays over everybody else. Like what happened to all our East Asians? We never talk about them. We never talk about the Indian population. We never talk about the Indians.
Which one is the Boxing Day?
Boxing Day, it looks like it's Christian origin, traditionally to get a day to give gifts to servants and the poor.
Okay.
Or it's observed in the UK, Canada, Australia, and other Commonwealth nations. And that was the 26th.
Okay. The day after. Here's what's left over. Here's what I'm re-gifting that I didn't like. You can keep it. I got this glass crystal from the Clintons one year that way. They would just take a bunch of things that donors and such gave them, and they'd send it up to the security room. Said, hey, if you guys need any of these to give out to somebody, have at it. And there was
Ken says he has a member. What's a member? What do you mean you have a member? A member of what, Ken? What does Ken do? Well, Ken will answer us in a minute. We'll continue, Jurgs. What were you saying?
I have this really cool crystal that used to sit on the bookshelf that would have been right behind me if this flood wouldn't have happened. And it, catches the sun as it comes in and creates a rainbow throughout the room or whatever. But I guess we'll talk about her in a minute. I actually have a member that says Yuletide. I think he means like coworker or.
No, he used the word member, so therefore he's not a coworker, he's not a friend, he's not a family member, he's a member.
Yeah.
A member of what?
Yeah, that is a good question.
Ken has got me thinking here, unless he's just using member interchangeably like I use guys, and I'm offended. Ken really has to call in. We should get. I'm surprised Ken hasn't picked up the number yet.
He's I don't know. He tried to get on Chatter, but apparently he doesn't have an iPhone.
Okay.
And Chatter, you need
1-888-88 Jurgs. Everybody calling now. 1-888-YERGZ. Jurgs.
The radio people don't do that either, which I get. That used to be like the thing, is to call your radio show.
Oh, yeah, man.
Now people want to text or do whatever. But yeah, so
can you text that number, Jurgs?
No, not yet.
Yeah, you should get that. If you could text something, get some salacious pictures text to you.
Yeah, so the phone company that we have through that will be adding text messaging. We got to get things registered and so on and so forth. But I don't know that I want to use that number. I might use like the business line instead, because I have another toll-free number. 888-322-4298 is our office, for what that's worth. I mean, it's all right here. I'm sitting in the office. I'm sitting in both Jurg's radio studio and Rainbow Radio Studio. All those numbers answer to my phone,
what is that bell that keeps going off? Is that like the gay version of the fire alarm?
You don't remember that? It was 2 weeks ago or last week. We've got a call. We've got a call. Let's do it. Hi, you're on the air.
Hey.
Hello. You're still on the air.
Hey, how you doing?
That's Ken. That's me calling. All right.
Hey, Matt. Hey, how you doing?
What's up,
man? What's up? Okay, man, you have to answer this. First of all, what's a member? And second of all, tell us about your idea of Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
Yeah, what member are you referring to? A member of what?
As for member, okay, so I run D&D games and I have a big, huge group, and each group member, I have Jewish people that play. I've had people of all denominations and non-denominations. So actually, I was looking back in one of my Facebook posts, because I normally say Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. So when I say that, I do see on some of my members of my groups, they are friends as well, Matt. And so one of the guys, he actually says, Merry Utah. So I was like, oh, okay. So I do acknowledge that too. So that's why I always put in Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. It's one of those things for me where it's just like, I'm going to cover all bases. I don't really think about it too much. And I don't even think about offending anyone. I also see your point when you said that when you were younger and you did, you said happy holidays and, the boss went crazy.
Yeah. Which
it kinda
by the
changes
way,
into
was
that
a dick way to
into that
handle
way.
it. Was a
Right.
totally dick way to handle it for a 13 or 14-year-old kid.
Right.
But yeah, go ahead.
So that's why I say happy holidays, because it's a little bit easier. But also at the exact same point for you, Matt, I see what you're saying too, as well as to why is it brought up in such of a way. But yeah, I get it. On both sides of fronts. But or even to me, I have a stepsister who was Jehovah's Witness, and I didn't realize she did not celebrate her birthday and all this and holidays and stuff like that. And I was young. I would say probably about 13, 14. And I knew her birthday was coming up. And I'm like asking her about her birthday and all this stuff, what she wants and all that. And my mom's like, 10. I'm like, what's going on? And afterwards, my mom took me aside and was like, hey, yeah, your stepsister, she's Jehovah's Witness, not by choice, but by her mom, doing, and she follows that situation. And I'm like, oh, okay. So that was the first time I actually dealt with different things, because as a kid, you think everyone celebrates Christmas. you don't really know.
Yeah.
But that's how it was broke down to
especially
me when I was younger.
Especially if you're in a neighborhood, or in my case, an entire school district and even a county that's all predominantly Christian.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody celebrates, Christmas. Everybody goes trick-or-treating. For not just in my neighborhood growing up, it wasn't just on Halloween. We started like 4 days before Halloween, because part of the celebration as a kid was dressing up and going door to door and whatever else and getting as much candy. It was like a business. He with the most candy wins. But also part of it was being home to receive trick-or-treaters. And because we didn't just, show up at the door in your costume and you get candy and, you wave and you walk away and that's it. Like if Matt would come trick-or-treating to my house, we would have to stand there and guess who it was. And, who's in the costume. So it was something more like now, kids just put a little bit of a paint in their face and that's it. Well, obviously I can see that it's Matt. But if there's a really good getup and you can't tell who it is, well, it's going to take you a while to guess. So now you got to look at things like shoes. Do you recognize their sneakers? Can you tell it's them by how they're standing and their posture or shit like that? And it's a game, but you can't be guessing and also be out trick-or-treating at the same time. So you kind of split it up. And that's why, we do it for like almost a whole week, really. But yeah. And I guess the other is I dated a girl when I was in the Secret Service Academy who was Jewish. And she would always, when we became agents, she would always be, volunteering for Christmas, because Christmas literally meant nothing to her.
I worked every holiday for decades, man. Every Christmas, it didn't matter. Same.
Except that she would be working this holiday and getting paid holiday pay for it. And it was no skin off her teeth. Yeah, so she's like, shit, yeah, I'll work Christmas.
Of course.
And, if we did the same thing for Hanukkah, I would work Hanukkah. But, yeah. So.
Of course, man. Work Christmas. When I grew up in the hospitality industry, man, you worked Christmas. That's when the tips were. And then finally we had our owner, who was this Italian dude. He's just like, we're open for Christmas. Pissed everybody off. One year we're open for Christmas, and then we're working, and we're like, oh, you know what? Maybe it's a good idea we're open for Christmas. People came out. People showed up.
Christmas Day, I went and my mom had to get something, like we had to go to an ATM for mom because she needed to give somebody cash for a gift. So Dad and I go to an ATM, and we stop at a Wawa in Pennsylvania. There's this, actually they're down here now in Florida too. But that came from Wawa, WAWA.
Yeah. We know about the Wawa sheets, competition. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, we're in this Wawa, and it's packed on Christmas Day. And I'm like, don't you people have families? Go, get out of here. And these people that are working there are all, besides themselves, because they're getting paid double time. And I'm just standing there thinking about, like, okay, so maybe they're getting what, $25 an hour? I averaged more than that on a regular day in the Secret Service. That wasn't my overtime rate. And it just kind of makes me appreciate people that, really have to work.
Yeah. Great.
So what's your Christmas horror story, Ken?
I really don't have too much of a Christmas horror story. I've always had I will say it this way. I've had a large family, because I'm originally from Gainesville, Florida. So it's all college students. So all the college students pretty much leave. But when my grandmother was alive, everyone kind of went over to grandmother's home and relaxed there. But ever since she passed away, that situation of all the aunts and aunties getting together kind of has gone away in a sense. So like my mom, my sister, and myself, sometimes we get together, sometimes we don't. I'll let her know ahead of advance as to what's going on. But even with my, just with friends and stuff like that, they would get together and we'll kind of have like a whole big friend situation. But yeah, otherwise than that, nothing too bad of Christmas horror stories. Now this year I have seen some similar to what you were saying here.
Yeah.
When you and I had a friend, even like for Thanksgiving, he went up north, and we saw on his Facebook post like he was there for like a day or two, and he was like, "I'm coming back to Tampa," and I'm like, "Whoa, is everything okay?" And he's like, "Yeah, pretty much same situation that you were going through." So,
yeah. Do you guys feel like the past couple of years, holidays like these have become more divisive?
Is this not what I'm exactly just saying right here? Did I just not start? Ken is here. I'm sorry. You're out letting out your dogs or dealing with crackheads, and I was telling stories.
The happy holidays versus Merry Christmas. That's been, I've seen that for the past 50 years. I've seen that my whole life.
Yes, but it's being politicized in a way of not being just happy holidays or Merry Christmas. It's a virtue of which one do you believe? Or am I a Christian America and that's how it is? Or the other thing is, am I better than you because I am now inclusive? See, this is different.
I see what you're saying. And there are people on the left that look at themselves that way.
And there's people on the look. I like I told the story earlier. I grew up in a household that didn't do Christmas, and I almost felt weird saying Merry Christmas up until my mid 20s, until I realized that it was just a very big. It was like one of those epiphany moments. People aren't being malicious when they say Merry Christmas to me. They're just saying Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Yeah. I'm trying to wish you some good in your life or whatever. And I should just shut up and say, hey, Merry Christmas. I don't have to go through the whole thing of, hey, I don't celebrate Christmas. I'm not religious. I'm not Christian. I don't do Christmas. I'm Jewish, or what? It's like, that's not their intent. Their intent was 100% to just wish me some well.
Actually, this is what I would say to you, Matt. So if you ever go out and you say, Merry Christmas to someone and they go, I don't celebrate it. The best thing I've ever done when someone's offended or anything, or however they take it, I go, ask them, I go, what's the best response to say to you? So I can know that in the future, in the future tense. So, and if I ever have that conversation, normally that doesn't happen because they wouldn't go that far. Most people were like, oh, well, Merry Christmas to you, or, or Happy Holidays. So you can really break people down.
Oh, of course, but that's not their intent. So it's almost like, why would you do that? Now, of course, if somebody says to me, hey, I don't celebrate Christmas, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. What do you celebrate, or is there anything, or Happy Holidays, or that's cool, man, no problem. Hey, sorry about that. Like, I'm not going to be mean about it, but understand, I'm not being mean about it. And I think that's the whole thing. Is like that's not the intent of anybody here. Nobody's here to say, oh, you live in a Christian nation and you have to be Christian, so therefore I'm gonna say Merry Christmas to you, and if you don't like it, you can. That's not people's intent. You can get that way if you want to be an ass about it and escalate the situation. And I don't celebrate Christmas and you're not being inclusive. Yes, you absolutely can escalate the situation, but that's not people's intent 99% of the time.
Right. Yeah, I get it.
But I just think that it is the intent of the people on the right for pushing the Merry Christmas thing. Yeah,
yes, because there'd be, like I said, it's being politicized on both sides. Like, we just turned it into a fight of who has the moral high ground here. Like, it's just ridiculous. We have literal things that we should be fighting for in America. We want to talk about healthcare or paid or retirement, or stop selling my 401k to different companies or whatever. That's something I would like to talk about. Not talking about what's the right way to be inclusive of holidays. It's ridiculous.
Right. Yeah.
So I guess what we're breaking this down to, and Ken, you can give your opinion as well, since you're just hanging out with us today. Since we're missing a couple people, we're happy that you're filling in. Didn't think you're going to be a radio star today, but look. But look, this is the thing: is like every time we want to make a step forward when it comes to politics, and when I mean politics, it's about how do we get the America on track to make real substantial progress. And if it comes to budgets, if it comes to the debt, if it comes to healthcare or your 401k or insider stock trading in Congress, it all devolves into, or right here, how do we be inclusive for Happy Holidays as if being Merry Christmas being a bigot? Like, come on. That does not do anything for the price of eggs, food on the table, my retirement, or, my premiums. That's ridiculous.
Right. Yeah. Ken, what pick and choose? What do we need to fight about?
There's so much.
We tread carefully. I'm ready to fight, as you can tell. Tread carefully.
Yeah, Matt's ready.
All right. I was say I would tread carefully because I can say something really dark, but
no, go for it. Now I'm excited. You can't crank us up like that and not give us the reveal.
All I'm gonna say is Thanos is right, but
no, Thanos fan.
Is that a Marvel?
Actually, you kind of look like a disheveled Thanos, Yergs. If you,
yeah,
really,
I'm a fan of both Marvel and DC, but yeah, to a certain degree. But
was Thanos the guy with the glove or whatever?
Yeah, he was the guy with the glove. I mean, you look like a Thanos. You could be a Thanos.
I thought he was like Thing or whatever.
Nah. Thing is more Rocky type of characters.
But did Thanos have long hair?
No hair.
No, that's why I said like a disheveled. If you trimmed yourself up, got yourself a clean shave, and put on a little glove, you'd be Thanos. Hey, that's what you're doing for Halloween, maybe.
All right, there we
go. He's all purple.
Yeah, because he was the guy that the one guy that Josh Brolin played.
Yes, Josh Brolin. Yes.
Yeah, and then he
played
Thanos.
So if you ever saw the second Deadpool movie, Deadpool looks at Josh Brolin's character for Cable and calls him Thanos. He calls him out because he breaks the fourth wall.
Yeah,
right.
Right. I love that about what's that actor's name? I'm brain farting.
Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds. Yeah. When in the first one, when they were coming up with his costume, he said no green, definitely no green. referring
Chicken
to
Head,
his
Green Lantern.
crappy Green Lantern movie. Yeah. But speaking of which,
But yeah,
we're gonna see Green Lantern in the upcoming Superman movie. Have you seen that?
I saw the trailer. I'm quite interested in it. I'm surprised with James Gunn's decisions for a lot of things. But this is going to be interesting because he did film the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. So
yeah,
he has
I didn't know that.
made some bangers.
What do you think caused him to switch teams?
There was a situation that happened. I don't know the full details, but originally he did Guardians 1 and 2, but when Guardians 3 happened, I think something happened between him and Marvel. I don't know if it was money related or anything. And then he finally came back to film Guardians 3, saying that that was going to be his last film for them. And then that's when I think DC and now getting him, and he's practically the Kevin Feige of the DC entertainment movieverse.
So I gotta give my 2 cents about I gotta give my 2 cents about Superman since it was filmed in Cleveland. I think I have a authority over there, some kind of special place in this conversation. Oh yeah, so Ken, I don't think he actually said if he liked it or not. I'm gonna have to say it. I did not like it. Everybody's like, oh, and then Krypton or Crypto or whatever the dog's name was came out, and I was like, that was stupid. And then it's like this ensemble movie, but it's Superman. Like, I don't need to have all these things. Like, it's like they threw everything and the kitchen sink at this. You had other superheroes, you had Lois Lane in Love, and then you had this stupid dog, and then you had a dragon somewhere in there. Like, we didn't know what that was. What is it? Like, I don't even know what that was. A dragon. It's like everything was in the Superman movie. It's like it seems like it's gonna be a sloppy mess. I can't see it being any good.
Oh,
I think that was just to me. I think that's kind of just fan service because people always want to see cameos. I don't think them being in the movie is going to be like something that they're in the movie for quite a bit. It's just like, oh, they're there, they do something, they jump out.
Yeah.
But I think why they're trying to do that is because it's, once again, they're trying to do what Marvel did, but in a different way, because they're trying to showcase, okay, well, though we know Superman is here, there's also the heroes here that we would like to explore and show you guys as to where they are. Where if you look at
they're doing what
first iteration, was that
they're doing what DC does. They're trying to build, and what Marvel did is they built a universe over a decade, and they're gonna, I think, try again to do it in one movie. And it's just like, I don't need to see Green Lantern. I don't need to see all you guys. I don't need to see the dog. Give me a good Superman flick.
How many more different versions of Superman are we gonna see?
I don't know, man, but
before we need some no-name or lesser quality superhero like Aquaman,
stop.
Come back and be the one that actually saves the franchise with a decent movie.
They tried Aquaman. I personally, maybe I'm in the minority here. I like the Zack Snyder Supermans. I thought they were excellent.
Which ones?
Yeah,
Zack Snyder. Is that Henry Cavill or which one?
Zack Snyder is the director. He did the Superman with remember when they started the Superman on Krypton and who's the guy? Who was the guy who was his father, Superman's father? Who was the actor's name again?
Marlon Brando.
Oh,
no.
Was it Russell Crowe?
Yeah, Russell Crowe. It was when Russell Crowe was his dad.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think all of the Zack Snyder Supermans are great.
The dad of, which is funny because I think, was it Russell Crowe that also? No. There was another actor. But yeah.
What's that?
Yeah, Russell Crowe ended up playing the dad of this Zack Snyder. So the first one of that, yes, I like. But the Superman, Batman versus Batman with the Wonder Woman, that one, it was okay. I didn't really care for it. But when he came back into the Justice League and we saw the Snyder cut, the Snyder cut was way better than the regular movie, though it was like 3-4 hours long, but it was better.
It was definitely better.
That's something I never understood, why studios get themselves involved like that. If you're going to hire a director to create a movie for you, let him or her do their job.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, that was all the studio jumping in and then letting Joss Whedon kind of jump in and put his 2 cents on it, which it was like, eh. So you're having 2 directors really trying to do one movie, and it didn't work well when it was done that way. So
I think that people are just not, look, when it comes to, let's just take a look at Batman. Every time they do Batman, in fairness, but every time they do Batman, they do it well. If you want to go back to Tim Burton's Batman, to Christopher Nolan Batman, to this latest Batman where we have Robert Pattinson, they were all done really well. And even the spin-off series, when you're talking about Penguin, was done really well. Something about Batman allows these studios to have confidence. All we have to do is make it dark, gritty, some cool, and they do it well.
But I think that's the thing, is that they acknowledge the fact that the Saturday morning Batman is not Batman.
Exactly. Batman animated series, excellent.
Batman was not a good person.
No, so they understand the character, but for everything else, they're trying to do too much, and they don't understand the character, and they just pick the wrong characters. Like, we don't want some guy who slings an arrow. We don't care about like Robin Hood, but in DC, we don't care. We want Superman.
I always thought Green Arrow was actually pretty cool.
Green Arrow?
Yeah.
Stupid.
Well, you got to think about it too. Batman is really easy in a way to do. You don't have to really worry about a lot of special effects. Batman has practically no powers besides peak human abilities, and what he does with his time, his money, and everything.
He pulls
else.
this water pistol off his belt, shoots the ceiling, and then presses a trigger, and the cable that shot out of it pulls him up and out of the Joker's clutches. Those are special effects.
Well, okay. Well, yes, those are special effects, but you're not using special effects like Superman. You're not flying or anything like that.
Yeah.
So
I think that's easier, because that's all. When Superman flies in real life, how that actor does that,
you don't know he doesn't do that in real life, right? I just want you to know that.
But I mean, that's my point. When they create that, they're in a room that's all painted green. That's it.
Yeah, they're on a green screen.
Yeah. So I think that's easier than to have an actual actor being catapulted up into the air on a cable, hoping like hell the cable doesn't snap.
Okay, so I'm going to go back, and I'm going to have to say that I don't think they actually made a bad Superman movie yet, though. I'm okay. Wait. There's been versions of better Superman. Like, if you want to go back to Christopher Reeves and the Superman 1, 2, 3, look, those were some of the top grossing movies of all time. Yeah. Absolutely killed it. Superman Returns back in, I can't remember when it came out. Was it 2004, 2007? Though before it went into Zack Snyder's, that was an excellent, and it was almost so spot on to the Christopher Reeves movies that it was perfectly done. It was perfectly done. Then Zack Snyder came out, reimagined Superman. I thought it was absolutely a great reimagining, and then they started messing it up, and DC got panicked because Marvel was making so much money. They're like, "Oh no, what are we gonna do?" And then they're trying to build a. Marvel was very strategic with this, and sometimes they just fail. I mean, look, Marvel has been failing with movies, but when they did a movie well, they did it. Iron Man was something that you never thought was going to work, and Robert Downey Jr. brought it home. That first one was like, whoa.
Do you know how he got that role?
I don't know.
No.
He was proposed. He was offered the role, and he initially said no. Like, what the hell do I want to do this for? And he got talking to his wife about, the possibility of doing a superhero, and it kind of embodied his actual life, like some of the things where he suffered with addiction. And just some of the, he didn't get along with his dad in real life and didn't have a great relationship with him. And Tony Stark, was kind of, a distance from, his really professional dad who didn't become a dad too much. And then one day, he goes and I guess he went and got comics or whatever, and just kind of sat in a coffee shop or something, reading through these different Iron Man comics. And he says, "Okay, I'm going to do it." And he didn't. I think he hadn't shaved, so he takes one of the comics to a barber, and he sits down and he says, "I need you to shave my face like this." And he sticks the comic in the barber's face. And the barber recognized him as Robert Downey Jr. in that moment. He didn't know the guy at first. And he said, "Okay, let's do this." So he comes home to his wife, who's been talking him into trying to do this role. And she sees that he's got the goatee shaved on his face like Tony Stark. And she just went nuts because she knew what he was saying and he went into Marvel and read for the role and whatever. And they said, "Okay, yeah, we're done trying other people. You're the guy."
Yeah, all right. And now he's back as Dr. Doom for the 2 Avenger movies that's coming out that he got announced for.
See, I hate when they when Josh Brolin, what you call that, the fourth wall or whatever.
Yeah.
It just it makes it harder, I think, to when they cross over from Marvel, like Ryan Reynolds did, and somebody else did too, I think. When they cross over from one to the other that way, it's fine because it's a totally separate universe. But in the same one, it's hard. I got a tough time.
Well, that's a little bit on the fault of Sony versus Disney, because if you think about it, Sony still has all the rights, part rights to all the Spider-Man stuff. So that's why you got stuff like Madam Web. What was it? Into the Spider-Verse, Craven that just came out, which I've heard very, very bad mixed feelings about that. So, and then different other stuff that they came out with, which doesn't even have Spider-Man in it, but there's Spider-Man villains like Morbius.
Yeah.
So
that's
there are
one.
certain like brought overs, because Brolin didn't play Thanos in the very beginning. It was someone else that actually had the role and did do the role. He just came in more as Thanos later. But when he crossed over to play Cable in the second Deadpool movie, I got what they were trying to do, because that was that point where I felt like, oh, okay, they have to introduce the mutants and the Disney version of Marvel. And everyone's been waiting for that contract to go up. So everyone's like, okay, well, are they going to use the old cast? Are they going to use the first class? Or are they going to get brand new actors? So that's everything that's happening currently now. They're gearing up to bring mutants into the fold. So when you see something like Deadpool 3, where you're like, oh, wait, so that's no longer Sony, that's all Disney. And that's why when you see Deadpool 3, how many Disney jokes he's throwing out there, saying like, oh, we're leaving Fox, we're leaving Sony and all that stuff. So that's where you get that, oh, okay, this is how they're slowly starting to bring things over.
Okay, so, unpopular opinion, Deadpool and Wolverine sucked. Didn't like it.
I'm gonna say it this way. I enjoyed it for what they were trying to do. I didn't think it was the greatest movie. It definitely wasn't in my top 10 out of the Deadpool movies.
There are only 3.
Huh?
How many Deadpool movies were there?
I think 3.
3.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Deadpool Wolverine is 3.
So how can the third movie of a series not be in the top 10 when that's all of the sorry about that when that's all of the movies? There are only 3 of them. It's got to be somewhere in the top 10.
Well, there's a lot of stuff that was good for it, but you kind of get to a point where And yeah, they kind of did blow the whole situation of like, oh well, let's have Wolverine in it, which is good, that they were trying to do that. But there's parts of the story, and I don't want to give away the movie for anyone that's never seen it.
I mean, if they haven't seen it now, it's about a year old. Like we can have spoilers. It's fine.
Yeah. So, there's just parts of the story where I'm like, okay, that's kind of not necessary, or oh, I get this is happening, but
what
it's just one of those situations.
Yeah, similarly,
like
when we first started talking about comics in general, we talked about the Superman trailer. I said I had this conversation with somebody else, and there were two types of trailers.
Yeah, that conversation with Blake. I remember seeing that.
Do you remember what I'm going to say? That there were two types of trailers. There's one where the footage in the trailer means absolutely nothing to the movie, but it entices you to come see it. And then there's the others where or they showed you everything. Yeah, you've seen the movie by seeing the trailer. You're good. And that's usually what happens in comedies, unfortunately.
Yeah.
They give you the best right there. You don't have to go see it because you've just seen it in that 30 seconds. But the example that I used was the movie The Professional with Jean Reno.
Oh, yeah. I remember you talking about that.
And it was Natalie Portman's first movie. She was like 11 or 12 when she filmed that with Jean Reno, Gary Oldman, and some other really good B actors. The things you saw on the preview for it, like the one was when Leon was moving between like bookshelves or shelves in the Chinese restaurant when he's whacking the Chinese guys and the one agent that's talking to them. That meant nothing. That 2 seconds meant nothing to the entire movie. But the way you see him moving tactically from one position to another, you think, oh, wow, I got to go see this movie. And, I saw that movie that came out when I was in college. I went and bought sunglasses like Leon had. And I went and saw that movie. I skipped class to go see that movie a second time.
Damn.
Yeah. I was going to be a hitman.
So you know what it is with these movies that irritate me is it's okay. So first of all, Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm sick of this stupid back and forth slapstick comedy that is like this deadpan, and then you do it with TV commercials too. This is why I can't watch TV and commercials, because every commercial has to be funny with some stupid like. I don't know. It just drives me crazy. They're not funny. The jokes weren't funny. I just was like, it got old. It's like, stop joking already. Can I have some meat to this potato?
What I had learned about Deadpool is that he was a smartass.
Yeah,
like that was so.
Wade Wilson, Deadpool is always
not
a smartass.
Yeah.
Yes, he is. He is. But
Deadpool.
Look, the first one gave him some limits. He had smart, but it was well crafted. This one was just like jab after jab with Wolverine. It's like, aren't you trying to do like something that's very substantial here? Like it's just, I don't know. I just didn't like it, and I didn't like it.
I like that the Deadpool movies, with or without Wolverine, but the Deadpool movies are actually all rated R.
Yeah.
That's and that goes back to especially the Christopher Nolan Batman, and now also Christopher Nolan and I'm brain farting on who played Bruce Wayne in Batman, but that one,
Robert
Pattinson being the other one. I think they should be that far. I think they should be rated R.
Well,
not that the movies in their current form should be rated R, but that this series of movies should be taken that far that they get an R rating.
So I think that you're 100% right. I think that it should be.
Batman was for adults. It wasn't.
But it's not even about being adulting for kids. It's just that, first of all, I think that people are sick of this like PG-13 trying to suspend disbelief that you're going to stab somebody with a 2-foot long katana blade and there's not going to be blood. Like, Can we stop this
Yeah.
already? Even if you're a kid.
Yeah, I mean,
And also,
when
we
you-
keep proving that rated R movies are bringing people to the theaters. Like, they don't want to be coddled. They want something that they can sink into and it is believable. And if they're going to bring their kids, they bring their kids. But there's still no risk taking from these movie directors and these because mostly it's not about us. They don't care about us, the American audience. They care about China. They care about getting that into China, and if they can't get into China, they're going to have a bust. And that's what I mean. Everything we see now is like, hey, how do we thread the needle of still taking the American money, the Americans' money, and making them relatively happy, and get this into the Chinese market or the international market? And that's where the PG-13 comes in.
Well, a lot of the PG-13 stuff is because a lot of things is geared to children, so they sell by toys. Toys has always been the number one thing, which yes, connect back to China, because everything of all of the toys that you ever see that gets made that's placed in Walmart, Target, and everything has made in China for those plastic parts. So that's how they actually make their
MAGA
money,
hats.
and that's why there is that PG-13. But on another subject along with that, to both of you, what was the main Marvel movie that set all of this off? And it's funny because I know the answer, and it was a rated R movie for Marvel that started all of this.
A
If you
rated
guys know.
R Marvel movie.
Are you going to say
Yeah.
Deadpool?
Nope.
No, because it's got to be older. If it's what started
Yep.
things like monitoring the China market, I would say possibly an earlier. And we're just going right through the different sections of the show today, and just we're still talking, so screw it. I would say possibly an earlier Hulk movie.
Blade.
Nope. It was Blade.
Oh,
Blade actually saved Marvel Comics and put them on the movie map, and it was a rated R movie.
shout out to Wesley Snipes.
Right, even
Best soundtrack, one of the best soundtracks of all movies. That soundtrack was amazing. Shout out Crystal Method.
Yep. Even Todd McFarlane, who had created Spawn around he had the Spawn movie come out around the exact same time. The Spawn movie was rated PG-13. The Blade movie was rated R. Blade did way better than Spawn did, when Spawn should have been like a rated R. But yeah, Blade put Marvel on the map. Marvel was about to go out of business, and if it wasn't for Blade, we wouldn't have what we currently have now. And that's why I always say there should have been a lot of respect placed on Blade and Wesley Snipes' name because of that reason. Because if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't even be here with any of these movies. But yeah,
well, I mean, also you're leaving out the first rated R movie from Marvel, and I think that you're not giving it enough credit. Well, do you know which one it is?
But didn't he just say it was Blade?
Howard the Duck.
Okay. Yes.
when you saw him break through the floors, and then he went into that woman duck's bathroom, and you saw the duck titties, that was the groundbreaking moment.
Duck titties.
I'll give it its due, but it was not breakout like Blade was. It was not.
Yeah, no.
I just wanted to say duck titties. That's why I said it.
Yeah. But no, but that's a good point. You know, what I said about Batman, that Batman was never for kids. Is that, I mean, is it kind of sort of most comics that way? Really?
Well, when you think about it, I think Adam West Batman kind of kid down towards kids because
yeah, no. Adam West was on television though. Adam West was also in the 60s where they couldn't do half the stuff they do today on television at all.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, we can't I mean, I guess we can consider that, but I mean, that's kind of the point. Adam West, for as you know, rest in peace, as often as a career he had, he was part of the Saturday morning Batman genre,
Right.
as opposed to the Christian Bale, Robert Pattinson, and even who's the third guy I'm trying to think of, the guy in between the two.
What?
J.
There
Lo.
wasn't.
Robert Pattinson.
Oh,
No.
geez, Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
I've been up. Yeah.
I mean,
But
he was
you know
even
what?
he
Wait,
was
wait,
he
wait,
was
wait, wait.
probably
This
the
was-
least. He's probably the least dark of those three Batmans. And I would still
Actually,
even.
But he
put-
has the best line, I think. Remember when Spider-Man said, "Hey, what's your superpower?" and he said, "I'm rich."
I'm rich. Yep.
He killed it.
I'm gonna say this because
Yeah.
a
What
lot
is
of
that
people don't-
car, by
don't
the
get
way?
this.
What was he driving?
Huh?
What was he
He
driving?
was driving a Mercedes. I think it was a concept Mercedes.
Okay.
For the for the Ben Affleck one.
For Ben Affleck when he had whichever Spider-Man that was. That wasn't Spider-Man either. That wasn't Spider-Man. That was the Flash.
That was Justice League. And you're right, it was the Flash. You're right.
That was the Flash. Yeah. It was
Yeah.
the Jewish kid. Who by
Actually-
the way is a troublemaker. Did you know that? The
But
actor.
Ezra Miller.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw about the proceedings with this stuff, but yeah.
I don't get
And
that.
oh.
Dude, you're paid bagfuls of money to dress up in pajamas, and you got to go out in the public and be an asshole.
Yep.
You're gonna screw that up. I don't get that.
Well, it was the same thing with that one Spider-Man guy. What was his name? What was the first one? The Toby something? Toby Maguire. I heard
Maguire.
Toby Maguire was the worst, man. He was a degenerate gambler. He was just the worst from the insider stories. But hey,
That and he made no secret that he was not staying. He didn't want to be typecast as Spider-Man. I'm like, dude, what are you else going to be? You got zero acting skill. What else are you going to be?
Seabiscuit?
Yeah, he was actually.
Yeah, he
so
was
maybe he's got a little
Okay.
bit of acting skill, but whatever. But
Because the Spider-Man, so it's Tobey Maguire, then Andrew Garfield, and
Andrew
then now we
Garfield.
have Tom.
yeah,
Tom. So
yeah. I'll take Tom any day. Oh.
you're gonna have to get in a fight with Zendaya.
well, why is everything you say sound gay?
Because it is. But I don't get that the whole people fighting.
Tom Holland is not a bad looking dude.
No.
So.
Oh no, absolutely he's not. Absolutely, but yours, man, all day he has these innuendos that I haven't called out. I've been biting my tongue, and I'm like,
Yeah, no, it's innuendo. It's there. But I don't get the typecast fears. Like, you're making bank, and I'll give you a perfect example. There's this kid who went to my high school in Boyertown, Pennsylvania, who had the opportunity to be the Mr. Rogers of our generation. He was the original Steve. Excuse me. He was the original Steve on Blue's Clues.
Oh, that dude.
And he, he's Steve from Blue's Clues. Steve Irwin. And he left that show because he didn't want to be typecast into a role like that. He wanted to do other projects, like they always say. Like, what the hell are you going to do? And why do you want to leave this so bad? Like, I look at Mr. Rogers. I say, frankly, and I've said this, he's one of two types of broadcasters that influences me. I try to educate people about politics. I try to do it nicely. It lasts all of about 30 seconds before Matt and Blake push my buttons, but I try.
okay, so here's my thoughts on it, and I agree with you with this to an extent, but I'm just going to be a devil's advocate to be a devil's advocate.
Go ahead.
when look, so for example, like Tom Holland, he's kind of typecast as his role. Robert Pattinson, he was the damn vampire or whatever he was for a long time.
And he broke it.
He did, but it took him about 10 years to do it, or maybe even 20. He really it took him a while to step out of that role. Give me a second. Just give me a second. Let me build for this. So you can like, even like, for example, like somebody like even older, we can go over like Geordie LaForge, LeVar Burton. Like, yes, he was in The Color Purple, but I mean, everybody knows him as Geordie LaForge, but unless you have multiple seasons under your belt, the first season, the second season, the third season, you're not getting paid. Tom Holland got paid, like, I think it was like 75 grand or something, or whatever the minimum was for his first Spider-Man. It's like, you're not getting paid unless you break out and you're part of like a big contract. You could typecast yourself and only have a couple $100,000 in the bank, and next you're working at McDonald's and being the most famous person working at McDonald's. It's kind of like baseball contracts. It's like it's the same thing as baseball contracts, and it's like, oh, how like they have those minimums, but if you get injured and you don't get a big contract, even in your first 5 years, you're coming out of there with a couple $100,000, and you're working at selling cars, and your draw is your name. So it's like, if you can't work, then you're screwed. So how do you prevent yourself from that? And if you're not a blow up character or blow up like Marvel Universe, then you're kind of like, you're kind of, it's hard.
Well, you're not going to get typecast by one role. Or excuse me.
But you absolutely could.
I misspoke. Hold on. You're not going to get typecast by one movie.
Yeah, not by one movie, but multiple movies are the same thing. It's kind of like genres that are, you're typecast as the sci-fi guy. That was Will Smith's big thing, but it's like, Will, you made enough money, so shut up. But
well, I mean, he also, made himself popular by smacking a fellow black dude. That was a good move.
Will Smith.
You do know he did exist before that, right? You do know Will Smith existed before he slapped Chris Rock.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
All right. Will Smith popularized himself for actually rap music first, and then 100%. Followed by
he's from Philadelphia.
Movie. Yeah.
Yeah, he's from Philadelphia. So, but
guys, I had the vinyl. Don't come at me with Will Smith. Parents don't understand. On vinyl in my basement.
Yeah. You say about the risk of being typecast. Look at Robert Downey. He walked away from Iron Man because he could. Because he's also Sherlock Holmes. He's also
he's also the dude that plays another dude that's playing another dude.
Yeah, exactly. He's not afraid to go off the wall. He's not at all afraid to go off the wall. I loved him in that movie. I don't remember the name of it.
Tropical Thunder.
No, not that one. I loved him in the one where he did with Robert Duvall, the judge's son or something like that.
Oh yeah, it just came out the other day. I think it was called The Judge.
No, that's a couple years old.
It's a couple years old. Well, anyway, he was the fancy lawyer. He came back to defend his dad, who was the judge, who got tried for murder because he was drinking and driving or something. Yeah, it was great, absolutely great.
Yeah,
but you know who Robert Downey Jr. played in that movie? Robert Downey Jr. He was exactly. You could put an Iron Man costume on him, and it would have been the same person.
Yeah, and that's what I love about some of these actors. They're not afraid to just literally be themselves.
Yeah.
They don't have to recreate a character. There's I see me in this role. That's why you picked me, because I don't have to act. And speaking of truth in the moment. Hello. It's so funny watching him. I know he's in his garage because it's where he usually does that.
Who me? No, I'm in my room. I'm just dusting while we're talking.
Oh, because you got like this jail looking shadow background.
Wait. I always thought it was a Blade Runner looking background.
No, I'm in Siege Tabur from Dune.
Okay, because I can see there's like hardwood floors that go to a stone wall, but I don't know what like the iron picket fence or whatever shadow is over top of it. But is it too cold for you to be doing the show from the weight room?
No, I just didn't have time to get downstairs. That's all. Because you're complaining in text messages to me saying like, "Where is everybody?" And you had dead air for 20 minutes before I showed up and actually turned this into something.
I need a producer. Ken, why don't you do that?
Because I have a full-time job. Otherwise, I would attempt to actually really do it myself and help out.
What do you do?
I work in medical insurance.
Okay. Do you work from home? Is that why you get to listen all the time?
I work from
Wait,
home.
medical insurance? And he wait.
Yeah.
Wait. How do we just gloss over this one?
Yeah, right. Do you have a bodyguard?
No, I do not. We didn't gloss over this. This was brought up before because I actually slightly talked about this before.
I think I remember that. Yeah. So
yeah, that was a while back.
Do you see? Speaking of current events, we're past showtime and whatever. Anyway, so let's get into it. Do you see the? I don't know how to say it. The method to the madness of those who idolize or Robin Hood this guy.
Yeah, I see 2 points. I see 2 things going on where the idolizing, and then also I see the point of how things are being portrayed as well. And I'm just like, wow, there's really 2 big messages or narratives that I'm watching here unfold. And it's really one of those situations where a lot of people are picking like which one they feel that goes with what. But yeah.
Guys, I gotta roll. Ken, it was nice talking to you finally. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to both of you. No, I'm just kidding. Happy holidays. All right, I'll see you guys.
Happy Kwanzaa. All right, buddy. I'll see you next week.
Get you later. But yeah, I see where there's a lot. There's a lot. Even like I have friends of mine who've been, following up with a lot of the story details of everything, and some of the information that they are repeating is just false information. And I'm like, where did you get that from? And they're like, oh, well, we saw it off of TikTok or wherever. And I'm like, where's the source coming from? And because anything that's always been sent over or that people say, and I'll always ask, where's your source?
Yeah.
Where are you getting
100%.
that story?
That's why we post show notes on Yergs.com when it's back up.
Because and they're like, oh, well, we saw it on TikTok. I'm like, all right, well, where did they get that source from? Like, where are you looking at on, or are you just looking at the video, or what's happening? And because one of the things, like a friend of mine and we would look at a lot of storylines, and we're like, well, follow the money trail. If you just follow that, you can probably find out where the true story is coming from.
What have you seen with regards to that?
The weirdest thing that I don't even think is true because I haven't really checked into it, but like I said, a friend of mine was saying, oh, well, there was a little bit more with Luigi and the CEO, and something was buried underneath the CEO's house that had something dealing with it. And I'm like, wait, what?
I'll tell you the crazy one that I think makes actually in some cases, before we caught the guy and learned what we know now, but the one that for the longest time made the most sense was that the CEO was the one that hired him.
Yeah,
that it was a suicide.
Yeah, I saw something like that too.
He was being investigated by the feds for insider trading, so he, before a lot of others, talked and was working with the feds, and knowing that he was either going to get whacked by some of the others, he made it look like they did it so as to save his family. the loss of the financial and the pending financial burden of the lost income and insurance and whatever else. So he had himself whacked by this kid who, in the video, and as I study the video now harder,
Mhm.
I see some of the mistakes that a real professional would not have made. But the comparison I made, I was on, I forget which ones exactly, but I was in like social media rooms and so on commenting. One of the things that happened to him when he shot, his gun actually jammed. Now,
Yeah, I
first of
remember.
all, it's a single action gun. You've got to cock it. You actually got to chamber it. You've got to cycle it manually to get another round off. So he shoots the guy. He's got to pull back the bolt and let it go to cycle another round.
Mhm.
He shoots the guy again, or shoots again. Maybe he doesn't hit the guy. Maybe he does. I don't know. But you can see there were 2 occasions where he cycles another round and then cycles another round because it jammed. And that's one of the things you
Yeah.
have with a low velocity weapon is that you need velocity on a semi-automatic gun or a fully automatic gun to cycle around and to be able to fire the next round.
And wasn't part of the gun 3D printed?
No, it was a
Okay.
real, that gun, I think it's called a Wellington, but
Okay.
that gun is what assassins use. That's it.
Oh, okay.
And the reason is it's low velocity, which means it's up close. And that's what you're going to be in most of those cases. But what that allows for is not necessarily an exit wound. And anytime there's an exit wound, in other words, the bullet goes through the person and not just into them,
You go out.
it
Yeah.
could go into somebody else. And even as a hitman, you don't want that. You don't want to be messy.
Yeah.
This guy cleared 2 jams, kept casually walking right up to the guy, shot him again, and walks off.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if you noticed, but there was a woman to his right watching the whole thing. That's a
because
witness.
I didn't see the full video, but I thought
got it.
I saw someone else like moving. But yeah.
Yeah. So there is. I gotta get it here to do it. I think it's in this. Yeah, here it is. Okay, hold on one second. So yeah, there's a let me get rid of some of this borders and stuff like that. So for those listening, I've had this up before, and you can find it all over the internet. But this is the video. So that's Brian Thompson. And if you see on the screen right now, a bunch of things that are somebody that we need to talk to. One is the woman in black to the right of the screen trying to get into the building. She's an employee of that hotel trying to go to work. 2 and 3 are the 2 Chevy Suburbans parked right there on that curb.
There's somebody. Yeah, there's
those lights are on. But look at, you see my cursor there? Okay, good. Look at right there. Look at
it looks
right
like there's
there.
somebody right there.
That red light across the top of that one Suburban.
Yeah.
That's the brake light. There's a driver sitting in that front seat with his foot on the brake. And I know because I saw it in this one back here, this is not just a tail light on the second Suburban, but it's also somebody sitting there as well. So
okay.
watch that. There's 3 witnesses right there. That's good or bad. Somebody that's seen it, but also, somebody that also didn't get hit. Like I said, they don't want it to be sloppy. And he's got a hood over his face. They're not going to pick him out of a lineup anytime soon.
Doesn't it look like there's someone all the way
up front
by the front?
All right, so there's 1, there's 2. She's getting out of the way. There's 3 rounds. Tap, tap, rack again. There's 4. He walked by the second Suburban. Now he's up right off the front door of the first Suburban. Another one into him. Puts the gun away. Walks right in front of the Suburban. And into the alleyway. So that my version of it recycles. But that's the one that hit him in the leg, the first one, because that's what I think makes him a small round like that. You're not even going to know that's what happened.
If you notice, once he first shoot, it does look like it hits him in the leg first, because how
he trips.
Right.
He trips. I didn't shave this at all, so it'll start up again. Right there. It shot him in the left hamstring.
Yeah.
And when you get a gimper, when somebody kicks you in the hamstring and your hamstring cramps, or any of those larger movement-oriented muscles, if you don't have that anymore, you're not moving. And that's what caused him to stumble. Brian Thompson's not a small dude, I don't think. And if he is smaller, he's still stockier and needs those legs to walk. Sorry if that's like ignorant to the obvious, but having lost his whole left leg with that one shot, he's going to notice that. And this guy, so there's the first shot, cycles the second one, and now he's falling against the building. So now he's stabilizing himself, and now the shooter is going to have an easier target. Not even going to come anywhere close to hitting the witness who's standing right there. Yeah. The other thing was, everybody says, oh, he looks like he's at a range. He doesn't look like a professional hitman. He looks like because he's got a proper posture and positioning. No, that's what a professional hitman looks like. When you see these guys, jumping and shooting at the same time and doing all that stupid stuff you see in the movies, that's not hitman. That's not tactical. That's movies.
Right.
And, this was all done very well. I can't see in this video that apparently he's not wearing gloves. I just think he's wearing lighter gloves. But I would definitely be wearing gloves.
I couldn't tell if he was wearing gloves because it looked right.
It's not clear enough to know that he's not wearing gloves. And I would also be, when they prepare stuff like that, even in, where they prep in the room of their house or whatever, they're wearing gloves while they're doing the prep work. Because when that casing falls out to the ground, if he put that casing into the magazine back in his hotel, back in his apartment, back in his home in the Hamptons, wherever the hell it is, if he's not wearing gloves then, his thumbprint is still going to be on the casing while it's sitting there inside the magazine. So just because he's wearing gloves at the crime scene, you have to realize his home or wherever he loaded that magazine is also a crime scene.
Yeah.
And so
go
ahead.
Didn't they say they also found his backpack in Central Park?
Yeah, the backpack was left in Central Park with I forget what they said was in it, but that was, I said right after this happened, I went on a bunch of different rooms as a, expert witness guest. And I said, that backpack is a statement. It's not your basic black, gray school bag. That is a fashion backpack that is very identifiable, as are, you'll see him in a second, as she gets the hell out of the way, as are those sneakers.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get it to a...
Because I think I saw some reporter story about the backpack, the creators that made the backpack had put out a statement saying, we can't give out your information due to the serial number and all that stuff. But I saw some back and forth with that.
Yeah. So the sneakers, I had this memorized when I was showing up in all these rooms. The gun is a $950 suppressor, just the quote unquote silencer, which is not what it's called. The suppressor is almost $1,000. The sneakers are $1,000.
Yeah.
The hoodie was $400 and the backpack was $300. Does that sound to you like somebody who is having financial issues because of health insurance?
No.
If they're spending money like that on clothing when they've got a video already ready to be launched on their YouTube saying that they fought to the end, maybe they're spending all that money for that one last hurrah, but they've got the money to spend. And so I just thought this was all very well done until I saw his escape plan.
Wasn't that part of his? Wasn't it? I remember hearing something about a manifesto. One was fake, and someone put out something fake or so. Or
no, I don't know that there were two that were put out, and I don't know that either was fake. Maybe, but they tell this. The one thing was really well written, and I think is more his because it represents his education. Or it's indicative of his education. And that was when he compared himself to a president and the head of his own country, that these CEOs are committing acts of war against him. And all he did was defend himself as a nation. I'm paraphrasing clearly.
Right.
But that was very well written and it was very well articulated. I don't think it's going to get him off. I don't think it's going to justify what he did. But when I read that, and then I see about how everybody's mother effing people for making this guy a hero, you can't tell somebody's wrong because of how they feel.
Yeah.
If you sit here and say, boy, I don't want to be the deciding member in that jury because I'm not going to vote to convict. Knowing what I know now, I'm not going to vote to convict him. End of story. I can't tell you that you're right.
I would never want to be on that jury.
Yeah. No, but I'm just saying, I can't tell you that you're wrong. Those are your feelings. You're just telling me how you're feeling in this moment. I can tell you I don't agree with you. I can tell you that legally your argument has no standing. But that doesn't mean you're wrong for feeling the way that you do. And now I hear some of the counters to these, slams of the guy. And I say, okay. And these counters say, okay, he's not allowed to be made a hero for us, those of us who have been bastardized by the healthcare community. Then you can't hold Kyle Rittenhouse as a hero for your 2A movement.
Yes, I saw that.
Kyle Rittenhouse was driven across state lines by his mother with the intention of shooting other people. That's all been proven.
Right.
So tell me how that's not at least manslaughter, let alone murder.
Yeah.
But he got off
And
clean slate.
didn't Kyle, he shot, what, 3 people or 2?
He walked down the middle of a street with an assault rifle. And I know there's no
Right.
such thing as an assault weapon. Every weapon's an assault weapon. With a tactical rifle that, just like this weapon, has no other purpose but to kill people with a more than just self-defense level of specific causes, specificity.
Right.
Like that has the silencer on it. It has low suppression, or low velocity, meaning that it's up close. And that's what it's legally used for,
Mm-hmm.
is by farmers who are putting down something within their herd. They're about to slaughter an animal.
Mm-hmm.
It's you can get close up without making a mess. It's not going to splatter and cause all kinds of blood splatter, and also without worrying about the exit wound in a lot of cases. If you like the mafia, for example, likes up close and behind the ear, as they say.
Yeah.
For a small caliber bullet like this one, it actually gets inside the brain, bounces around inside the skull before coming out, if coming out. And as it does that, it turns the brain into jello by creating more damage by bouncing around.
Yeah.
An assault rifle, a semi-automatic or fully automatic rifle. Kyle Rittenhouse didn't have the license for a fully automatic, but a semi-automatic rifle like he had, you're not going hunting, walking down the street in another state. You're not committing self-defense when you cross state lines and had your mommy drive you there in the first place.
And wasn't his statement something to the fact that he was only there to protect property? And I'm like, if you're only there to protect property, why aren't you on that property in the first place when that happens?
This is why when there's any level, whether it's a police officer shooting a black person or any person, or Kyle Rittenhouse crossing state lines, or Luigi Mangione stepping out from behind 2 parked cars, once the trial is conducted, testimony and evidence needs to be made public.
Yeah.
Because I don't doubt the system. If there's something in that trial that proved Kyle Rittenhouse was indeed not guilty, I think we need to know it.
Yep.
Because one of the best lessons I learned in umpire school, a little learning is a dangerous thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what that means is you learn a little bit and you think you know a lot. We know Kyle Rittenhouse crossed state lines. We know he was driven by his mom. We know he used an assault rifle. We know that he's a big 2A barrel sucker.
And he was underage, right? At the time.
That's a good question. I don't know. That would certainly make it much easier for it to be much less legal.
Right.
We know Luigi Mangione was not a client of United Healthcare, but that his mom was.
Right.
We know that she did have medical issues. We know that it did cause financial strife, even for the supposedly wealthy family that they were.
Mm-hmm.
That all weighs on a person. That she has not heard from him since July may or may not be usual. Ask my mom how long it takes for me to return a phone call sometimes.
Yeah. I get that.
That doesn't mean I'm
I've been
crazy.
told if I don't pick up the phone, so,
It doesn't necessarily mean I'm
Yeah.
crazy.
exactly.
But all right, man. I got to get on with the rest of my day. We
Yeah.
went a good 30 minutes over. Well, thanks for letting us use the phone system. Thanks for calling.
Yeah.
And
No problem. Anything.
hope to see you in the chat on Monday.
Will do. I have off Monday and Tuesday, so yeah.
Awesome. Very cool. All right, pal. Thanks for calling.
Thanks for
Super
having me on.
fan Ken Williams, everybody. And let's see, can close that out. But yeah, so I've got to get going. I've been here 2.5 hours besides, except for the fact of having to run out to deal with people knocking on my door in the middle of a radio show. I said that I'm going to get that on air light and just put it in the window so that when we are here in my living room on the air, people don't come and knock on my door. My neighbor did that twice. And then he started saying, well, I'm not going to, he didn't come over. He was supposed to help me with like electrical work around the house. He didn't come over because, I don't know when you're on the air. Okay. So let me see something. Let's see if I can hear it now. Go back to playing these clips. Translating Trump. Hey gang, it's Yergs. Every Wednesday at Up the Middle, so I forgot I put the little tag on the front, like that one says Translating Trump. That's for the Wednesday show. But I forgot to take that out when I uploaded it to Restream. Translating Trump. Hey gang, it's Yergs. Every Wednesday at Up the Middle, we add co-host Philip Blackett, a Harvard-educated and frequently published author who happens to be a Trump supporter. Join us as he translates Trump during Wednesdays Up the Middle, Politics for the Rest of Us. Wednesdays at 8 a.m. Pacific on K. I like how I say that. K-Shop. Here's the one for today's show. Friday Fights. Hey gang, it's Yergs. Every Friday at Up the Middle, we add co-host Matt Deemer, a Democrat from Ohio and host of Daily Crypto News, and co-host Blake Fisher, a Republican from Oklahoma and host of The Homeless Conservative. Join us as we slug it out over Trump, MAGA, and wokeness during Friday's Up the Middle Friday Fights. Politics for the Rest of Us. 8 a.m. Okay, so again, I actually say 8 a.m. because this is West Coast, and I'm doing it for that one station. So I'm not going to say 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 Eastern, or 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific, or because it's just for one market. I'm not going to put both in when they don't need to hear they don't care what 11 o'clock, that it's 11 o'clock on the East Coast when they hear the show. So that's why that is. I think they sound good. We didn't do any commercials today because we had enough breaks that weren't intended. Yeah, I gotta better figure this out. I don't know how that got cleared off. You know what I mean? I mean, it's my settings. I don't understand why Restream came on today and I was not set up to be a part of Voice Meter. That's what it was in the settings. I went and checked that in the settings of the computer, and I don't know if Zach changed it when he was over Christmas when he was dog sitting. I got him and Kaylee a PlayStation 5 Pro. There's some bucks I'll never see again, but I got him that, and we didn't talk about anything political today. That was awesome. I got him that, and he used this system to upload it, or actually, no, what were they doing? They were playing, maybe, I don't know. Maybe they were here the first night or took the PlayStation home or whatever, but they put Fortnite on my computer, and he and his girlfriend were playing that too. And as a result, I had to reconfigure one of my monitors and other things. I don't care. He had good time with the girlfriend, and I know he probably banged her in every room of the house. All right, gang. I've got to get out of here. Go over our affiliates quick. Restream.io. I promise you, I'm going to put all these on. I'll put it on the screen like I had it earlier. I'm going to put all these on my Facebook page because yergs.com is not functional right now. So for those of you watching, go to Ross Yergs Yerger. Search that for that page on Facebook. And that's where this list of affiliates will be. So go to that right there, Ross Yergs Yerger. That's my page. It's not my profile. That's my page. I'll put this list of affiliates there. Restream.io. You can get a discount by signing up through me. Constant Contact, you get a 30% discount by signing up through me. Buyblacket.com/Yergs. You get a 15% discount. Limit Break Digital. You're supposed to get a 10% discount, but we might be discontinuing. We might be going our separate ways. We'll see. But you would get a 10% discount off your project. And I think you actually have to mention me. And there's no link. Aroma by Peter. Same thing. I haven't heard for a little while. I'm going to have to reach out, see what's going on. But Capital One, what's in your wallet, right? That one, Capital One, you can there's a referral that we have where you can get a cash back on your credit card. Same thing with Chase Bank checking. Frontier Internet, you get a $150 gift card. Rumble, if you sign up to do your own content creation with Rumble. Podmatch, right here in the Tampa Bay area. Lastly, Momentum Fitness and Wellness. Good stuff. So go to Facebook, search for Ross Yergs Yerger, follow that. That's not where we broadcast to. We limit our Facebook destinations now because we've cut back on Restream. We're trying to up that again. We'll see what happens. But there's the player. That's one of our destinations. And that's on all of our pages if we don't do it immediately live. So that's it, gang. Have a great weekend. We will see you again on Monday. I've been sitting in this chair for way too long. I've got to piss. I will see you again.
Wake up, goddammit!
We'll see you Monday.
The average radio listener listens for 18 minutes. The average fan listens for, are you ready for this? An hour and 20 minutes.
How can that be?
Answer most commonly given. I want to see what he'll say next.
All right, okay, fine. But what about the people who hate Yergs?
Good point. The average skater listens for 2.5 hours a day.
But if they hate him, why do they listen?
Most common.